I'm Darren with Akshon Esports, and we're back with Akshon Recap. For our first story of the day, let's talk about Arc6, an Overwatch team that may have disappeared from memory with the passage of time, but whose players remain more relevant than ever before. Ever since making a name for themselves last year after a solid underdog performance in Contenders, the talented members of Arc6 have all left a mark in some shape or form and continue to rise in popularity as they aim to further their competitive careers. In terms of those in the Overwatch League, XQC was reunited with Kusta as members of Dallas Fuel, while Dante found a home with San Francisco Shock. As for remaining members, Gingerpop, who was previously assumed to have retired, was revealed by Fast to be a member of a reboot of a Rise Nation-esque lineup, featuring players such as Midnight and X-Rizzy. As for the remaining members of the Arc6 legacy, XQC revealed on stream that ZZA and Daehoon, similarly to Gingerpop, would also be competing with the team in the upcoming 2018 season of Contenders North America.
Six Squad found themselves in Contenders Season 1, or Season 2. This Contenders. All of them. We're all in, boys.
Contenders will serve as a great way for XQC's former teammates to showcase their talent and hopefully catch the eye of prospective Overwatch League scouts either for an academy team or even a spot on the main roster. After announcing their academy roster earlier this week, the Philly Fusion Contenders team featuring the likes of Zerg, Alarm, and Who Are You will make its debut at the upcoming Overwatch Beat Invitational. Currently, they are the only team registered, but it is anticipated that other Overwatch League academy teams and player-run Contenders rosters will also be participating. Now, before we move on to our next story, I'd like just to express how it's great to see the gradual return of third-party tournament organizers hosting amateur-level events for Overwatch, but we still have a long ways to go. While the professional teams are preoccupied with winning the league and academy teams soon to be focusing time on Contenders, the number of amateur-level tournaments and grassroots efforts to foster a healthy competitive environment at all tiers of play will definitely be something to keep an eye on in 2018. Looking at League of Legends and CSGO as references, I don't believe that big third-party organizers such as E-League and ESL will be running a dedicated Overwatch tournament, as they will need to apply for a license from Blizzard, who seems to be aiming to become the primary organizer, much like how Riot Games exert a level of control over the esports scene of their game. Even if these organizations get approval to host an event with a large prize pool, I'm skeptical that their broadcast will be capable of attracting enough viewers to warrant the expenditures put into the production value. After playing for an entire season, teams will likely want to give their players a break in the months following playoffs. Similarly, the month leading up to the start of the subsequent season will be dedicated to practice. While the Overwatch League does provide a longer off-season than League of Legends, the success of major non-Blizzard run tournaments will largely hinge on whether or not the Overwatch League teams decide to participate. For example, over the years, with IEM Katowice, League of Legends viewership numbers began to drop as NALCS and EU LCS teams decided to make better use of their time in putting more hours into practice so that they could win the league in their respective regions, rather than compete in a tournament that had more or less lost its meaning when compared to the importance and bragging rights that come with being a spring split champion. That's just our take on this. Do you think Overwatch can support a healthy grassroots scene that is welcoming to third-party organizers, or will the scene evolve into an entity resembling the competitive infrastructure crafted by Riot Games? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this matter in the comments below. For our last bit of Overwatch news, I want to talk a bit about Overwatch League merchandise sales numbers. Blizzard may have not released any specifics, but if you just go to the online Overwatch League store, you can sort the jerseys by popularity and see that the Shanghai Dragons, despite currently only being at the bottom of the rankings, have some of the most popular pieces of merch that is not only outselling every other team's jersey, but also outselling the Overwatch League general merchandise. It may initially come off as a surprise, but once you give it some thought, the trend of the most popular jerseys is understandable. Korean fans have many options between the New York Excelsior, Seoul Dynasty, and London Spitfire. In North America, there is an even greater divide in the fan base. For example, we have 2 teams in Los Angeles and the neighboring San Francisco, 2 teams in Texas, and 3 teams along the eastern coast of the USA. With Shanghai boasting a population of over 24 million, along with a massive Chinese esports community, it's not difficult to rationalize why Dragons merch is flying off the shelves. Now, onto our next story of the day that's a little different. Much like other professional sports leagues such as the NFL, NBA, and MLS, who've invested into esports and hosting major gaming competitions, the NHL have plans on diving into the world of esports with a potential announcement in the coming months, involving EA Sports' NHL video game series, according to League Commissioner Gary Bettman.
Oh, you mean for us?
Yes.
Our goal is to unveil something before the end of the regular season, which would have a series of competitions using the EA game, and we'll have more details when we're ready to launch.
Prior to this news, there have already been NHL team owners who invested into esports, such as Tampa Bay Lightning owner Jeff Vinik, who is a member of Akshon, the ownership group behind Team Liquid, and San Jose Sharks co-owner Stratton Sklavos, who is invested into EchoFox. Now, to wrap things up by moving on to some PUBG talk, a report by Superdata has revealed some impressive numbers. PUBG reportedly grossed more than $700 million in revenue by the end of 2017. Superdata predicts that this value is to rise to a staggering $1 billion by the end of 2018. Here are some numbers from other esports titles to put PUBG's unprecedented success into perspective. 8 months following its official release, Overwatch comes in second after raking in an impressive $382 million, followed by CSGO in third place at $341 million, both of which even combined are still eclipsed by PUBG's success. It is important to note that as far as free-to-play games go, League of Legends is still king after having grossed $2.1 billion in revenue by the end of 2017. That's all for this installment of Akshon Recap. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing by clicking the Akshon icon, or check out some of our other videos. If you have something to say and want to join in on the conversation, join our Discord server. Links to that and everything else mentioned are in the description of this video. This has been Darren from Akshon Esports. See you in the next one.